thought for the first time in my life I was going to make a positional sacrifice. So hopefully King's Crusher would be proud of this move. I played a positional sacrifice. I allowed him to take the bishop in order to get my queen out here onto this g4 square, eyeing down his king. And so I played d takes e5, attacking the bishop, and he grabbed the rook. And then after queen takes g4, I now have my queen hitting the square, and then at some point, hopefully, the bishop eyeing down the square when some things become more clear here in the center. Keep doing this backwards. So the other thing I noted was that these squares, these light squares in his camp, are just incredibly weak. He has no pawns and no light square bishop to defend any of these squares. So at any point, I can maneuver my queen in through these squares, hopefully, and get some threats on his king. So that was my plan going into this positional sacrifice. He played bishop g5, attacking my knight, which is undefended. But after e6, he can't grab that knight because I have a mate threat on h7, and now you'll notice that these two bishops are fully open and pointing directly at his king. So just so you know that if if bishop takes here, see new variation, then queen g7 is mate. So that's not possible. So after e6, he played he played rook to e8. I guess he wanted some pressure on this e6 pawn. The other good thing about this e6 pawn is that it's cutting off the f7 square from the king to escape down. So I thought that long term would be good if I could hold on to the pawn. I wasn't sure I could hold on to the pawn if you put enough pressure on it, but it ended up being okay. So knight e4. My idea here was to just get the bishop out of there, just get a defender out of there, and have a clearer view of the f7 square with my queen, or the g7 square with my queen. So he plays a rook f8. I don't know if maybe he started thinking here that he would have some counterplay on the f3 pawn, you know, with the rook coming down here and maybe queen here to here to here. But I think that's hopeless in the long run also, because what's going on here? Give me just a second with these arrows here. Well, I don't know what's going on with those arrows, but it's hopeless in the long run because I can just play f3 or even rook to f1 to defend the f7 square. So rook to d1. I wanted to pin this knight just in case he had any ideas of coming back with the knight to defend the king. So I thought that I had to at least make him waste a tempo getting the queen out of the way to free up that knight. And actually, he wouldn't be able to just move the queen out of the way. He'd have to defend that knight first because it's unprotected if the queen moves. So he plays rook f4, attacking my queen. But the beautiful thing about this position is that, again, these light squares are just so weak that I can easily play queen h5 and get out of the way of the rook and have the immediate threat of queen g6 and then queen g7 mate if he does nothing about it. So he realizes that knight is pinned to the queen and that the queen is the only defender, so he plays c6, just defending the knight to get his queen out of there. And now I'm looking to get the rook into a more advantageous square for me. The only real squares he can go to are f5 here and f8, and he picked the wrong one. He played rook f5. I think rook f8 would have been a better choice for him in the long run. But this allows me to just win this rook right away because now queen g6 came, and that threatens the mate on g8 and also the rook, which is unprotected. And unprotected pieces are tactical targets, as we've all heard many times. And he can't play rook f7 to defend the mate because pawn takes f7, check, and then it'll be mate pretty quick. He'll probably get mated pretty quickly with bishop coming in or even queen coming in. It's a mess for him. So Should have played rook f8, played rook f5, but now he's forced to play a queen e7, or he could have played, I guess, queen d7, but queen e7 was slightly better because his knight's no longer pinned to defend the mate threat, and then grab the rook. Now he wants a queen trade. Probably a good idea. I mean, I would offer a queen trade in a position like this myself, but I have no interest in doing so because I have what I feel at this point to be an extremely strong attack, and I don't want to give up my queen when I have an attack coming like this. So he's trying to get his other pieces involved. Maybe he's looking to play. I think he should have played rook e7 at some point, but he didn't. So finally, I get that knight out of the bishop. He didn't have time to play rook e7, and then queen g5. Or excuse me, that's a different variation. But what actually happened was queen queen h5, and after queen h5, there's no possible way for him to avoid being mated. He ran out of time, but just to show you guys, there's no hope. Possible variations to defend the mate. So my threat is obviously is queen h7 mate. So if he were to do nothing, I would just come in with queen h7, and that's checkmate, because the pawn is preventing his escape down here. This nice passed pawn sitting here is just almost acting like an entire piece. I've heard Garry Kasparov say a amount of times that when you have pawns that are this close to the end of the board, they are basically pieces. And when you're counting the attackers in the attack, 1, 2, 3, and this is actually an attacker of 4 attacking units coming against his king, simply cutting off his escape. So, but any combination he tries fails because of so something like queen f7. Then there's mate like this. If rook takes, then there's bishop h7 check, only move. Oops. And then bishop g6 check, discovered check with the queen. Again, only move, and then queen mates. Anything else you can just see. I mean, even this is let's see. This is hopeless because of my dark square bishop allowing queen h8 mate. So there's absolutely no defense, and he ran out of time. I can't remember if he spent that time just trying to find some way out of it, or just sort of wanted to rather run out of time than be checkmated. But just an exciting game, a good game, and a game that shows the power of the two bishops on open diagonals coming in on the king. So hope you guys enjoyed that game, and we'll see you next time.